in the delivery of your remittances. Jamono Money Transfer is your only solution with more than 9 years experience in remittances services. It's accessible, reliable, affordable, and convenient. Jamono Money Transfer is affiliated with Ajay Guaranteed Trust Bank Limited, Mega Bank, Apps, Reliance Bank, and many others. You can send and receive your monies from friends and families both home and abroad through Jamono branches at various strategic locations in the country with high standard customer service. Please walk into any nearest Jamono branch for efficient and timely service delivery. For more information, you can visit its headquarters at Bursabi, right opposite AfriMed International Hospital, or call on the following numbers: +220-3103-050, +220-3103-051, or +220-3755-522.
Good morning, viewers. You're watching us on Caravan News Network with me, your host, Mama Eture. Today on our special interview, we have the President of the Gambia, Muhammed S Bah, and today our topic is centered on journalism in the Gambia and some of the achievements of the Gambia Press Union as the umbrella body of all journalists in the Gambia. Well, you may introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Mama, my colleague. It's a pleasure having me. As you said, I am Muhammed S Bah, fondly called MS, the President of the Gambia Press Union. Thank you for having me.
Okay, you're welcome. Just to remind you viewers, you watch in Caravan News Network with me, your host, Mama Eture, accompanied by the GPU President, Muhammed S Bah. Well, Mr. President, as the President of the Gambia Press Union, how will you analyze the situation of journalism in the Gambia today?
Thank you very much, Mama. The situation of journalism in the Gambia and media as a whole, it's expanding. We've seen the media landscape is now very wide open due to some realities which occurs when the new dispensation came in 2016. We know that given the context, media and journalists as well were operating in a very unconducive environment at the time. And now the media landscape, looking at the realities, as I said, we have more media houses in the country, we have more people interested in becoming journalists, which at the time was not the case. So now we've seen a very popularized or a very highly concentrated profession, which is journalism. Everyone almost want to become a journalist, and then we've seen the advent of the social media and the online platforms as well. We have more TV stations, we have more radios, we have more online TVs, as I said, and more people became interested in giving out the news. So as well, it has some negative aspect where probably people cannot differentiate who is a journalist and who is not a journalist, because what happened is they feel like anyone who distributes or spreads news is a journalist, which is not the case. So it makes it a bit difficult, and then some of the guys or some of the people who spread information that are untrue or information that is perceived to be untrue makes the work of the journalist very difficult, because you have too many of them who are trying to do the work of journalists but who are not trained professional journalists. So this is why it brings public mistrust, that journalists are unbiased, journalists are biased, journalists are spreaders of hate speech, journalists are spreaders of fake news, which is not the case. Any professional journalist, trained professional journalist, will adhere to the ethics and the principles of journalism. So basically, the landscape is widely open.
Well, thank you so much. We've also observed that some journalists are not following the ethical principles of journalism. So what has the GPU, as the umbrella body of all journalists in the Gambia, do in order to regulate this?
Thank you. GPU is a union, it's not a policing body. But however, we're not losing the sight that journalism comes with responsibilities. And part of it, which is having a very comprehensive code of ethics. First, GGPU validated with our members and partners, validated a code of conduct, which is called the Chano Jala Code of Conduct, which is not the first of its kind. But however, we had the initial code of conduct, which probably was limited, probably some of the things that were not there, like for instance, election reporting and other things that are very critical in our work. So GPU has a code of conduct and they're giving it on gratis. It is also published on our website so that journalists can, or media practitioners can use it as a guide, because each profession has their code of ethics. They have a guideline that guiding principles that guide the profession. The other aspect of it is what GPU is doing is to ensure there is professionalism. As a result, we established a school called the GPU School of Journalism, and now the Media Academy for Journalism and Communication is the first of its kind since 2010, the first maiden journalism school in the country, so that people can have access to, being exposed to the trade, which is journalism or media, the work of the media, so that people will be more educated, and we encourage more people to go there to ensure that they are not just from the classroom to the newsroom, but also they go through certain rigorous training that will expose them to the journalism, the work of the journalist. We also understand that it's important to regulate the media, but also how do you regulate the media, because you don't also allow the media to be regulated by government, which could be dangerous, because we've seen what happened during the past 22 years. The media was gagged, very repressive laws were brought forward just in the name of policing the media. So what happened was GPU initiated what we call a media council that comprises of various stakeholders, including the government, because there was a need to have that. That is a self-regulatory body. This body is looking at ethics, like any journalist who is found wanting and violating the ethics, a complaint is brought forward, or people can complain before the media. They can send the media council a complaint, and the media council will preside over that case. And they've presided over cases severally, and then I think there was all those cases, most of them probably, let me put it that way, that there was a positive outcome, and probably some which were pending are still under review. So these are the important aspects that the GPU does. And GPU also have been conducting several trainings on ethical journalism. Probably even yourself, you might be a beneficiary of that. So this is what GPU is doing to ensure that all journalism is professionalized. Not everyone can just come and then start writing without knowing the ethics. And even the code of ethics is available on our website, as I said earlier, and also it is printed. It's just like a small book which can be carried all over. So these are the things that GPU, has been doing for so long to ensure that the journalism field is professionalized.
Thank you so much. And come to think of it, we've also observed that there are individuals or group of people who won't register with the press union, but whenever they get into dangers, the first institution that they're going to contact, instead of their various freelance media houses or their staff media houses, they get to the Gambia Press Union. Do we think those people are being fair to the union?
Yeah, freedom of association is a fundamental right in the Constitution of the Gambia. Each and everyone has the right to associate yourself to every or any organization, including the GPU. We've seen severally, even during those days, what happened is if problem arises, people go to the GPU to help them redress the issue. Recently also we've seen that, but some of them are reluctant in one way or the other for their own individual reasons. But that is why the GPU came up with a membership benefit policy, because we've been supporting even a lot of people who were not members. For instance, when they have problem with government, or mostly when they have problem, when they are assaulted, the GP will come in and even sometimes pay litigation fees for them. But we have now the membership benefit policy and another policy that talks about litigation, how members can benefit, and GP will be giving priorities to members, or whatever project that comes. It will be a membership priority centered sort of, because members over the years have been complaining that if we are members and we are sharing the same benefits with those that are not members, then what is the essence of being a member? Which definitely advised GPU to come up with these policies to guide our operation. But however, given the fact that GPU is there to promote press freedom and the independence of the press, probably some of the things that happen to the media or against the media, GPU must come into like the GPU must intervene, because it's not only the media, people who deal with the media as well. Like for instance, the case of Dr. Sise, who was granted an interview by one of the newspapers, and later he was called for question, and GPU came out to condemn it, and to say, yeah, you are trying to attack media freedom. The case of Madi Jobate. So our main thing is to defend press freedom. Some of these cases, if for instance a journalist is attacked who is not a member of the GPU will ensure that we have a stance to remind those that are responsible that this is wrong and you cannot trample upon press freedom and the independence of the press. But however, going further, because as per the policy, we cannot help you in certain level. For instance, if you want to go to court, we can be in solidarity, but we cannot help you to pay your litigation or stand for you, pay a lawyer for you, and then do all those necessary things if you are not a member, because this is the policy that we want to stick with, based on the issues that are raised. So for me, what I will encourage people is, or journalists or media workers, not only journalists should register. If you are working on a media, you're doing media work, you can register with the GPU. So, what I will advise people is to ensure that they register with the Gambia Press Union, especially when you're doing a medium work of the media. You should register with the Gambia Press Union so that you can be at a safer side, so that you can have, because what happens is most of the time when journalists are assaulted, media or media workers, their media houses most of the time don't even help them out. They probably, most of these, some of them felt, yeah, it's so expensive to find a lawyer and then start trying to litigate or so. But GPU, as a union, we have to stand on our ground and then defend press freedom to the latter, because this is what we stand for.
Well, viewers, you're watching our Caravan News Network special interview with me, your host, Mama Eture, accompanied by the GPU President, Muhammed S Bah. Since you're watching, you've heard the President talk a lot about the Gambia Press Union intervention to help its members and, of course, those that are not members. And then if you think that you are not a member of the Gambia Press Union, it's high time you get to the GPU and register to get to be able to benefit from the Gambia Press Union. Well, away from the ethical ways in journalism, we've also seen that the Gambia Press Union has engaged several different media houses on the collective bargaining, that is the CBG agreement. So, can you please take us through, like, what does the collective bargaining agreement state?
Yes, the collective bargaining, I just want to give it a context, that it was because GP did a very comprehensive research on the welfare of journalists, that less than 34% of journalists are paid $2,500. If you look at that, it's just very small, and we believe that this is not right. And also looking at how media houses employ people, media workers as well, it was not standardized. Like, for instance, there is no proper guideline to see, okay, if you are having a certificate or diploma or advanced diploma or a degree, or any other qualification, what are your benefits? So this was what advised the GPU to come up with a very comprehensive policy called the collective bargaining document. This document outlines a lot of things. It outlines the minimum wage that journalists cannot be paid less than $5,000, and also like a very comprehensive way between the employer-employee relationship and what are the responsibility of those that are working, what are some of the benefits that you should have, and also the responsibility of the employer and the employee themselves. So this document basically helps to regulate the media, regulate in the sense when it comes to contracts, employment, and also help to serve as a guide, as I said, between the employee and the employer. And it will also motivate others to go to school, journalists, because the more you have the qualification, the better pay you have. So this will motivate others. For instance, if you have a certificate, you know that if I have a diploma, my employer will add at least maybe 15% or 10% on my salary. So you will do more. And if I have an advanced diploma, it will be maybe 20%. If I have a degree, it will be 25%. So obviously, you will want to be motivated to do more. So this collective bargaining is very important. And some media houses have started signing it. And GP will also, in the process, support with the implementation of this collective bargaining. Because it is sad that, as journalists, we struggle to get ends meet, because I'm not saying you can get whatever you want in journalism, but also it's a noble profession where one can have a very decent living with it, and one will not be subjected to being bribed or being subjected to junkets or whatever. So I think it's important that we have our own, minimum wage, and journalists and media workers are giving the right remuneration so that it will help in our professional work, basically.
Good. And then after outlining what the collective bargaining states, what was the result with your engagement with those media houses?
It's positive because we've seen now people are signing it. At the time, it was so difficult before the media chiefs understand. Probably it was the understanding, but now we've seen that now the media chiefs are seeing that this is helping us, because this is a comprehensive guideline that helps to outline how we are going to deal with our employees, and also what are the responsibilities of the employee and the employee. So we are seeing a positive stride, and then a lot of media houses have seen the reason for the collective bargaining, and they've seen the benefit, and I think it will motivate others to definitely come up and sign this important document.
Well, then we wish them all the best in signing that document.
Yes, absolutely.
So, okay, now, how many media houses has actually signed that document in total?
Yeah, for now, I don't have it offhand, but I know it might be about 3 to 5 media houses for now. And we are foreseeing maybe 10 media houses or even more before the end of this year. That is what we are foreseeing. Probably also journalists should know the collective bargaining document and know its importance, so that they can also serve as an advocacy, also that they can also advocate for it to be signed. Some of the media houses are even paying beyond the collective bargaining. If you look at very big media houses, they felt that this we are paying, because some are paying more than $5,000. But we want it to be a very standardized, way, because it helps, to professionalize the media, the media industry. That is why we came up with that collective bargaining, which was because as a result of a research that was done by the GPU looking at the welfare of journalists, and then it's part of our mandate to protect the welfare of our members and journalists as a whole.
Well, if you come to think of it, the number of media houses we have in the Gambia and the number of media houses that are willing to sign this document, it's quite disgusting,
Yes, that depends on their willingness. We are still doing the engagement. I'm sure it's the clear understanding of probably the media chiefs and those who are running the media houses. If most of them who didn't understand it initially were reluctant, but when they understood it, they say, "Wow, it came to help us," because it will allow you to also professionalize your work as a media owner. For instance, if you have more educated journalists working for you, then first you will see your content, the output will be good, isn't it? And then it's different from someone who doesn't know the work of a journalist, and you just give the person the microphone, he or she can do whatever he or she wants. But now, if you have a document that states that if you are a certificate holder, and diploma, advanced diploma, bachelor's degree, so it's encouraging people to go to school and then learn and come and join the media fraternity, because it is high time we follow these steps. People should not just come from the probably from the classroom and then to the newsroom, because journalism has certain ethical principles and people should be exposed to those things. It's an art, like it's an art of processing and producing news for people, for public consumption. So it is important that you know what you do before you venture into the trade. So I believe the conversation is ongoing, and then we are hoping that this document will be signed. Even more people will sign it to see the sense out of it.
We hope so.
We hope so.
Yeah, so what is the state of the reporters in making sure that their editors understood what the CBG entails?
Yes, we've engaged a lot of reporters from various media houses to understand the CBG, the collective bargaining, but also, as I said, it's already on our website. You can just go and then get it, so that we can, as reporters or journalists or media workers, we can understand the importance, because we have to understand the importance first as journalists as well, so that we can also advocate. So we've engaged a lot of them, but sometimes you can engage people and then probably they are not just probably committed to continue maybe what they know, they are not willing to, or not actually committed to that cause. So but I believe if the reporters understands the importance, as well as media chiefs, they will definitely look into having a conversation, not only leaving it at the GPU level, but also the conversation begins at the newsroom, the conversation begins within ourselves as journalists and media workers, so that it will gain more weight than just leaving it to the GPU to do all the engagement. But this is why we engaged almost every media house in the Gambia.
Good. And if you're watching this program, I'm telling you, please get to the Gambia Press Union website and get to, whether you're a reporter or an editor, get to their website to know more about this collective bargaining, because it is something that is going to help the journalists and of course the media houses as well. Because if you come to think of it, you as a certificate holder or as a diploma holder and someone who's just from our senior secondary school, straight from the classroom straight to the media house, you will be able to shape your media house, and then you will also be able to get great content from this thing. This is not just about the Gambia Press Union advertising it, but it is about with the reporters as well from the various media houses to come forward and make sure that the CBG is something that is stabilized in various media houses. Well, away from the journalism in the Gambia and the CBG, we also talk about the just conclusive safety training that was organized by the Gambia Press Union under your leadership. Why do the GPU feel that it is necessary for the journalists to go through this risk assessment training?
Thank you very much. Over the years, we've seen a lot of journalists being assaulted. Not only journalists, but media workers in general. We've seen the past 22 years, some journalists who were killed, some, forcefully sent to exile, some, went through a lot of, violations, gross human rights violations. So in the New Gambia, we've seen more than 10 assaults, more than that, maybe there are about 13 or to about 15 assaults of journalists, during their work, their line of duties. So what happened is the GPU deemed it necessary to expose journalists on safety training, because most of the journalists in the country at the time were not exposed to certain safety tips. They were not exposed to safety plans, risk assessment, tactics, contingency plan, standard operational procedures in reporting maybe conflict sensitive issues, as well as reporting any other thing that is relevant to the public. So that is why GPU came up with this training, to ensure, to expose reporters and media workers, which include cameramen and any other person working in the media, to be exposed to these things, how to do risk assessment prior to going to the work. We did also an assessment within the media houses. None of these media houses have a safety plan. None of them have a risk assessment strategy. None of them have, anything that some even don't have policy direction when it comes to how they mitigate risk. Some will tell you even what happened is their editors will just call them and say, cover this event, something is happening there, go there. And this, has put journalists in trouble. You've seen what happened to one of the journalists who was called by one of the editors, and then he was asked to go there to an event that he never knows about. So he went, and then he was beaten mercilessly, and he lost some of his gadgets. We've also seen journalists covering, violence or protest or campaign, and then they've been, beaten and assaulted seriously. Some even, hospitalized because I've witnessed severally journalists. I've visited journalists who were hospitalized because of the tear gas, because of assault, because of a lot of things that have happened to them, which would have been avoided. So this is why the GPU deemed it necessary to engage journalists on safety, because if you are exposed to certain things, if you have knowledge on safety, you will be more careful. You will know what to do even prior to going to an event. You will know what to do. So this will mitigate the risk of being assaulted by maybe political party supporters or security, because these are the main people that they are the main perpetrators. But however, we are not also stopping at engaging journalists. We are also engaging political parties to ensure that they understand the work of journalists and the security as well, because we even met the IGP, the current IGP, to discuss around, the importance of safety of journalists. And, it was a very important meeting that we held with the IGP, and the IGP was very welcoming. And we also had several meetings with political party leaders. We discussed around the safety of journalists. So I believe it's an ongoing thing, and we also engage journalists, and we've done a lot of in-house training so that this menace can be mitigated.
That's good. That's good. And then I hope those are part of the strategies that you guys have laid down to make sure that the issue of assault on journalists, it's not eradicated, but it's minimized.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a very good thing, because through the training, some of the journalists weren't able to know how to plan their checklist. And of course, the sand table that they're supposed to do to know their exits and then their indoors can get into their places that they're supposed to go to. So I believe this is something that is very important, and then that the GPU has to continue doing in order to help the journalists out there.
I can see now you are an expert, because you are also exposed to certain, so you are discussing around the sand table. So it's important. This is what we want. So for everybody to be exposed.
Yeah, so I think your safety training is very important, and then that's a lot of us who are exposed to some of these things, because I nearly put myself in trouble at the Brikama incident.
Yeah, so you see, you can
so after this training, I was able to analyze my I can say downfalls about those places. That if I had known these things, then I would have do something in order not to be at that small place. Well, I'm afraid, because that is all what we have for you on our special interview with our GPU President Muhammed S Bah. Well, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our Facebook page. I was your host, Mama Eture. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
delay in the delivery of your remittances. Jamono Money Transfer is your only solution with more than 9 years experience in remittances services. It's accessible, reliable, affordable, and convenient. Jamono Money Transfer is affiliated with Ajay Guaranteed Trust Bank Limited, Mega Bank, Apps, Reliance Bank, and many others. You can send and receive your monies from friends and families both home and abroad through Jamono branches at various strategic locations in the country with high standard customer service. Please walk into any nearest Jamono branch for efficient and timely service delivery. For more information, you can visit its headquarters at Bursabi, right opposite Afrimed International Hospital, or call on the following numbers: +220 3103 050, +220 3103 051, or +220 3755 522.